Take this around so it's actually not going to be on selfie cam this time. There we go. All right. So if you guys have been following this, one, I appreciate it. And those of you who subscribed, I appreciate that even more. A while back, I decided to use my power hammer over here and see how many file steel blades I could forge out in about 2.5 hours. And I forged blanks. They didn't have real, not a lot of defined refinement. Didn't have bevels yet. Well, I just recently, over several videos, went through and did some demonstration and some education on how I could economize on time and get all of those done. And what I have here in this bucket, you want to pan down just a little bit.
Oh, I have it set to where they can see them.
They see it? Okay, cool. Cheyenne is, she's doing shooter producer stuff today behind the camera. Wave, Cheyenne. And you guys can't see her wave, so there she is. Okay. So the blades are primarily file steel. There's some spring steel in there too, but these have all been forged and normalized, and now they have been rough ground. So it's just profile grinding. This is still a thick profile for the edge, but just the outer perimeter here, that's been done. And a lot of these are going to get ground and handled up, but there's something standing in the way of that. One, heat treatment. But prior to heat treat, I want to do my stock removal while this material is still relatively soft. Keep in mind, doing this many blades, it's going to take quite a bit of abrasives. And I want to show you guys a technique that I use to help impede, or rather, to speed the process up, because the scale in many cases can be pretty abrasion resistant. And let me see if I can demonstrate that a little bit just with the file. I mean, it does take some of it off, but this can be a bit of an issue, especially if you've got a lot of blades to do. Now, potentially there's a reasonable amount of money here, but I want to try to increase my profit margin. So any of you who are going, I would like to be able to do that too, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll help you out as much as I can on that.
Omar, we are from Central Illinois.
Yep, we are from Central Illinois. So right here, the scale is an oxide. Now, I was using my Atlas Forge over here, so the scale thickness is not that bad. However, the scale is still there, and I want to smooth out this metal, but to get to that metal, I have to remove the scale. Now, still having some file texture on here, that's probably going to help that scale hold on just a little bit better. So a little bit of a fight, but there is a way around it. I'm going to get to that. Now, there's a few things you can do. One, while forging, you can wire brush this, and that's going to help take some of that material off. Of course, we can use our 2x72. You can use a wire wheel. I use a wire wheel quite a bit on an angle grinder. The problem is I get stabbed with a lot of those little wires when they come off, and it's quite aggressive. I think it makes a neat finish, but sometimes I want to do something just a little bit further. And some of these blades, aside from me telling you that they are file steel, when they're finished, you may never know because of no longer having any file teeth on it. So I guess you could use flap disc. Either way, you're still going to end up going through more abrasives. So how do we eliminate, or at least greatly reduce, the scale on the surface? Now, of course, you could, while forging, use a descaling compound, or rather a scale preventer. I think that's probably going to get expensive if you're doing large batches, or even relatively large batches, or many small batches. Um, the idea here is to reduce your cost on consumables, and there's a couple simple ways to do that, and they're chemical. So, one is to create an acid bath. Okay? A lot of people are going, okay, acid just scared me because it's corrosive, it can burn me. You're right. Now you can use muriatic, which is very corrosive. And if you're working with chemicals, always use proper PPE and have a way to neutralize it. Okay. So now I have used muriatic acid before. Now that I believe that is a methamphetamine precursor, so that may not be something you want to be buying in bulk, unless you want a visit from your local authorities. And I'm on pretty good terms with the local authorities here, but at the same time, I don't want to give them a reason to start having doubts. You can use ferric chloride. Ferric chloride will remove a good portion of the scale. I don't like to contaminate my ferric chloride that much unless I have to. You could use phosphoric. Cheyenne and I did some experiments with phosphoric acid, and phosphoric acid will remove the scale and also gives kind of a cool finish. It's a little different from a hot vinegar finish or ferric chloride. So we've got a couple different techniques we use. The technique I'm going to recommend is a vinegar bath. Now, some of you are probably going, damn, I thought he was going to tell us something cool. To me, it is cool because it works. And this is a technique I've used many, many times back when I was doing the Classic American series, when we were doing the our Classic Frontier series. All of those, we were using the vinegar bath after heat treat. Now, I'm going to be doing this before heat treat and then after. Before, to remove majority of the scale prior to stock removal, okay? And then after, to remove any scale, and also it's going to degrease some of it, with oil from the quench that may get baked on here a bit. So what I've got here, this is pretty simple. I've got my bucket of knives. I have a bucket with some, it's probably got hot water in it. I don't remember. It's cooling down now because it's only about 54 degrees here in the store, in our shop here. Needless to say, we haven't started the forge yet, and it got kind of cold last night. And the other thing I have here, which I definitely asked Cheyenne permission to use before I went in the back and grabbed it, is her bottle of white vinegar. Now, this is a 5% acidity. You can use, a lot of people use apple cider vinegar. Some people use a higher concentration. I'm not in a hurry on this, and I just want to break down the scale so I can remove it. Now, there's a couple ways I can go about this, and I'm going to take my glasses off and grab some safety goggles. Those are moved. Safety goggles. Oh, now if I can remember where I put my wire brush. This is going to be like Blue's Clues. Hey, kids, do you know where I put? No. Unless you want to do a Blue's Clues type educational episode, and we can definitely do that. We'll probably get sued. Okay, so what we're going to do, one, I'm not wearing any rubber gloves. I probably should because this stuff's going to stink, especially once it's been reacted. Now, what I have here, I have a bucket with a vinegar water solution in it. And this is, I don't know, you guys probably cannot see that. It's got some really fine bubbles coming off of it. It's also producing kind of not a vinegar smell, but Cheyenne, can you help me describe this?
So,
it's acidic, but almost like acid and decay.
So honestly, it smells like sucking on a penny.
Okay, there you go. And something you're going to notice real quick when I pull this out here is that, one, it is a lot darker, And I'm just starting to get a little bit of this dissolving off. Now, you can speed up that process. Of course, being cold like this is going to take longer. You can always scrub with the wire brush.
Which knocks down the loose pieces.
Or a Scotch-Brite pad. And as that loosens up, you're going to end up with more sediment coming off of it. Now, there's a long ways to go on this, but it will literally take it down to the white. Now, this was clean on the back here as far as being pretty well devoid of scale. You can still see a couple spots, but you can also see how that's gray now instead of being bright like that. And that's because of the acid reacting with it. And this is reacting, fairly slowly. There's not a lot of vinegar in here, and it's just something I wanted to do to give an example. Now, one thing that will happen when you do this is you're going to make this blade very prone to rust because you're introducing a chemical catalyst that is going to, basically promote oxidation here after it dissolves the scale. So, how do you resolve that? Water and baking soda works pretty good. And then I generally, do several rinse cycles. So let's get to it. How do we go about this process? Pretty simple. Okay. You get a bucket with some water. And I decided to go with the taller bucket just because I've got some longer knives in here. Of course, some of these are going to have the tangs trimmed on them, but I'm going to start placing my blades in here, and I'm doing it tip down, and just to give you guys an idea about how many blades I've been going through in this process. And I'll tell you what, I'm glad to be through this many, and I'm probably going to do it again. I guarantee I'll be doing this some more. Just a lot. Some of these do have heavier scale than others, so I may have left them in for a bit longer. But I'm going to take and put all of these blades in here, tip down, because I'm more concerned about having clean blades than I am clean tangs. Here we are. Now, keep in mind, it's going to require more vinegar or whatever acid you choose to use. And in this case, I'm going to have a food-grade vinegar. It's going to take more vinegar to eat away at this scale than it would, just a couple knives. Well, hey Pete, how's it going? So, what we have here, we've got a couple of spring steel blades. They'll be going in too. And it's a real simple process where, at this point, once more, I definitely asked Cheyenne permission before I went and used her vinegar. Which I'm going to have to go buy her more vinegar. I'm not going to use all of it because we don't need to use all of it right now. And my blade that's been soaking, just briefly for this video, it's going to go into the solution. We'll dump that in, and I'm going to let it sit. Now, this is a passive process. So what I'm going to do every so often is I'm just going to agitate this.
Human washing machine.
Yeah, basically a human washing machine right there. And you can probably tell from this bucket that I've done it before because there's quite a bit of rust in it. But over the next couple days, that's going to dissolve a lot of that scale without harming my steel. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to use my abrasives to remove the steel and not the scale. So with that being said, once more, I appreciate you guys. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, share it out to social media. And if your TikTok isn't working, watch my videos instead. I've heard it's coming back up. I've heard different things. I don't know, but hey, you know what? It's a good hashtag to have today. You guys have a great one. We'll catch you later.
I gotta figure out how to shut this off again.